Hello Bean and welcome to a new video. I wanted to do the Mets 100 Heads challenge for quite a while now, but I always felt so stressed out to draw 100 heads in 10 days, so I just made my own portrait challenge and will fill this sketchbook in the next 30 days with as many portraits as I can, but hopefully over 100. And since we have seen the references 1,000 times, I created my own Pinterest board for this. One more thing before we start, check out my video on the LOOMIS method or my portrait course on Gumroad if you want to learn how to draw portraits yourself. But now, let's get started and enjoy the video. My goal of this challenge was not only to draw 100 portraits or over 100 portraits in a month, but also to try out a lot of different mediums to sketch with and to draw with and to see what I like and what I don't like to sketch with. And the first portraits were pencil sketches, since it's like the normal medium you use to sketch with, but I also use ink a lot of the times recently to sketch, and I sketch with it without doing like a pencil sketch beforehand. So I sketch right away with the ink pen, and I really love this process since you like have to live with your mistakes and you really have to observe your reference closely because you have only like one try for each line. And yeah, some of these portraits that I do with ink will look kind of weird because the proportions are off, but you know, I just have to move on, go to the next portrait and not try to make this one perfect. I also wanted to add some colorful highlights here and there, so you will find a lot of colorful backgrounds. I have not only sketched with my ink pen, my ink fountain pen, but also with my brush pen for the larger black areas to block them out. And I really like this process. As I said, I like to work with ink straight away and not do sketches beforehand to have everything perfect. I mean, this challenge is also about being fast, because how else would I draw 100 portraits in a month? I mean, this doesn't sound much, but I have to do like 3 to 4 portraits every day to achieve this goal. I really have to let go of this perfectionism, which I have a lot when using pencils to sketch. I can 100% recommend to you trying out to sketch with an ink pen, a fountain pen. I myself feel like it is liberating to just do this one line, and if it is not the line that you wanted, it is still there. You cannot erase it. You just move on to the next drawing. If this makes sense, I don't know. But what I've also found out in this process is that I love to sketch with colored pencils. I mean, you can not erase them that easily as well, but you can erase them. But it is kind of the same as with the ink. I mean, you put down the color and then it is there. You can not 100% erase it again. So this is something that I really like to force myself to observe my reference and see how the proportions are and where everything is in the face. And yeah, I also think that it is much more fun to sketch with a colored pencil rather than with a normal pencil, because the colorful values are just much more fun to look at, I think, and much more fun to play around with. So yeah, you will find a lot of colored pencil sketches in here. I'm very much in love with these two drawings. I really felt like sketching faces that are something else than these Pinterest girls and Pinterest boys was just so much more fun. Like these older people here with the wrinkles and with their like kind of special proportions. And here you can see that I'm again inking without a sketch beforehand. And this is one of the drawings where I say my drawing does not really look like the reference, but it is still okay, you know. It doesn't need to be like this all the time. I mean, references are more like an inspiration to draw and not to like copy them perfectly. But of course I would like to do that, but especially when sketching with ink, you not really get the chance to copy the reference perfectly, you know. And I also think that it is much more fun to look at all these drawings when they do not look like perfect proportions, you know. I love that each of these drawings has its own character, since the proportions are kind of off. And I experimented with some colors and some color combinations as well. For me, doing this challenge was very motivational because I had a reason to sketch every day. This is something that I don't do lately, or that I don't do a lot, like sketching and drawing, since I have some other jobs that I have to do. And sitting down every day knowing, okay, today I have to sketch some of these portraits to get it done in the next 30 days, this was a very nice motivation to be creative and to sit down. And in some days I only did like 2 portraits, but other days I did 7 or 10. And yeah, I think this is what creativity is about, to live it when it's there. And if it's not there, you should not forget about it. So maybe not force yourself to draw or to sketch, but if you have a reason to sketch, you will do it. So this was my reason to sketch in the last few weeks. Yeah, it was 4 weeks now. And I found it rather helpful to have this motivation. This is one of the pencil sketches that I really like how it turned out. I think I got kind of looser with using the pencil and using it to draw the shadows and not being like perfectly clean with it. And I also added a little bit of color. And this was the first portrait, face number 21, that I was highly proud of. So I really loved how I used this pencil. I really loved how I used the line weight, and even though it does not 100% look like the reference, again, I think it has so much character, and I really loved to use these pencils. These are like watercolor pencils, but I think these are actually ink, so you can use them with water. This one, Face 22 as well. You can use them without water, just to sketch, just to draw with them, like you would with a colored pencil. But you can also use them like watercolor pencils and add some water and then smudge the color. We are already at day 8 of the challenge, but I have only done 23 faces so far, so I kind of only did like 3 faces a day. But I also think that I skipped this weekend, and I didn't go to Meryl's studio and sketched, and I just stayed at home, so bear with me, I left out 2 days. This is one of the more expressive portraits, but I really like to draw expressions. I really have to practice that, since I want to be a comic book artist, and your characters in your comic books cannot stand there with neutral faces all the time. They need to have expressions, and you have to know how to draw them and also how to stylize them. This is something that I didn't really do in this challenge, to stylize the drawings. I tried to keep realistic with them, but I think you still need this foundation to know how to realistically draw faces and how to realistically draw expressions to do them stylized. Face number 27 is my, so far from all of these 27 portraits, favorite portrait, because I again love the use of the colored pencils. I love the line weight, and I love how everything like kind of flows and the shape language, so I'm very proud of myself for this one. And then I went on using the colored pencils. I think that you have already seen that blue is my favorite color to sketch with. I think it has the most depth, or it is just easy for me to work with. It is different than yellow, for example, that is very bright, or red, or some of these warmer colors. But I really like this cool blue and how it looks like to sketch with it. And here's the first portrait that I did not finish, but on purpose, because I was like, well, this is still a sketchbook. It is a challenge, but it is still a sketchbook. So these are sketches and not finished like drawings and rendered and polished drawings. So it is okay to not finish it from time to time. And this was not only because I was lazy, but also because I kind of like unfinished looks. So I don't know if you can count these two here as unfinished as well, because they are in the corners and yeah, you cannot see the whole head. Yeah, I like that in a sketchbook you have the freedom to not finish things, because why should you? This is just for studying, this is for having fun, and you don't have to have perfect sketches all the time. With Phase 32, I did a full color portrait for the first time, I think, like trying to really draw the colors of the reference photo. And I really like to use saturated colors for skin, for example. And this reference was perfect for that, because this woman has just yellow skin and I love to use colors for skin. And the next one will also be like that. So I really like this optic. I really like to work with not normal skin tones, if you know what I mean. Like my favorite skin tone to use is blue in my drawings and also in my characters, but I digress. This is not what we're talking about here. In this portrait I really like the colors, but I don't like the proportions that I did. His face is just very much smushed, you know, if this is the right word, I don't know. This is the first time actually recording the voiceover while watching the video, so I hope that I use real words. Here I wanted to try out a new hatching method, but my fountain pen is just too thick. The nib is just too thick for the method of hatching that I wanted to try out, so I will do that later in the video, you will see. And here is one of the times that I actually had to erase the colored pencil, because my proportions were completely off and I didn't want to just go with it because it didn't do his face justice. But these were two of like faster portraits, and I don't really like this number 36, to be honest. Here's again a very interesting face structure, very interesting head with proportions that you don't see all the time. So this was a portrait that I had a lot of fun with because of these reasons, and also this face number 38, because these gentlemen just have very interesting, well, proportions and faces, and it is much more interesting to draw them if they are much more interesting to look at, you know? So this is also a thing that I can highly recommend to you, not only looking for the perfect faces on Instagram and on Pinterest for references, but go on and look for something special. Here I was trying to draw with watercolors more than sketching, so I did this basic sketch foundation that I can then draw with watercolor on. But as I'm just not patient enough for using watercolor, especially not when it's just sketches. So yeah, the colors mix in a way that I didn't want them to, but I still like face number 39 and face number 40. I don't know what happened here. This is just proportions completely off. I didn't know how to use the watercolors. Yeah, this is maybe my least favorite portrait in this whole challenge. blue colored pencil again, and also again a very interesting face, but this time a younger male face. And this was also a faster portrait because I held the pencil at an angle to, well, color bigger planes at once. And yeah, here the lighting, I don't know what was wrong here. You can maybe not see anything how I draw a face number 42, but I think these two looked kind of similar, so I put them together on one page. I was actually always thinking about which faces I put on one page, and sometimes it's two and oftentimes it's just one, just like here. And oh no, I have to correct myself, this is actually my least favorite drawing in this whole sketchbook, but that's okay because it was the first time that I used this ink nib. And as you can see, the next ones with this ink brush and this nib will be better. And here also the proportions are off, but I mean it is also a very difficult angle, so that's okay. And it is again sketching with ink without sketching with pencil beforehand, so I'm not mad at myself that the proportions are off here, but it is just really something you need to learn and need to really get into, to sketch and ink with ink right away. So next to ink, I also wanted to use a ballpoint pen, which I did here. And I really like the way you can add shadows with it when you don't push too much on the pencil. I mean, if you have a lot of pressure on the pencil, you can draw very thick and dark lines, but if you don't put a lot of pressure on the pencil, you have this very thin lines that you can add very nice shadows with. And I wanted to experiment with this here, and I really like this left portrait. I also like the right portrait, but here I was wishing to have the liquify tool in Procreate because this head, the proportions is just, they are weird. I also added some colors in the end in the circles in the background. Surprise, another blue colored pencil sketch. This was also a quicker one because the angle that I hold the pencil at. And I'm very happy with the outcome. I think I catched his expression very well. And here are also two other very quick portraits that made me realize how stiff I was with most of the drawings before, because as I said, this is a sketchbook and I also don't have unlimited time. I want to finish this challenge in 30 days, so I need to be more loose with my sketches, and I did that on this page and I really liked how they turned out. So yeah, you will see that a lot more in the next pages, that I kind of sketch very loose. But before we can see that, first some more ink portraits, this time with fine liners and not with a fountain pen. Because as I mentioned before, my fountain pen, the nib is just too wide for this cross-hatching style that I wanted to try out and that I tried here and that I really like. So even though I just wanted to draw face number 51 on this page, I also added face number 52 on this page to do some more cross-hatching. And I also have to say that I found out how much I love to draw statues. I noticed that I've been sketching only adult faces or faces of old people in the sketchbook so far, so I also wanted to add some younger faces, some child portraits or teenager portraits, because yeah, they have just different proportions than people who are older. And also there are some very funky pictures and references on Pinterest that I found from kids. I added some of them, and you will also see some more kids portraits in this process, but I quickly came back to the older people because they have just much more distinct face features, they have more edgy and angular face features, and I think it is not only kind of easier to draw that because not everything is just round and very soft, but yeah, it is just easier to find the lines with more distinct faces. I also like this one a lot because you can like only see the face, because the rest is well covered with this head or whatever it is. And I added some color on this page, this very saturated red, because both references had this very saturated red in them. Yeah, and I also liked the hairstyles of these references. So here are some other references that I've sketched with very cool hairstyles. I liked this punky one especially. I did not get the angle right of the head, but yeah, I think I was more focused on the hair, also with face number 60 here, because I really liked this black strand and also the wavy form of the hair. So yeah, this was more hairstyle focused than face focused. And here it was more like a beard focus, because this man has a very great beard. I have to say that. I have to give him that. And he also looks very good in this blue. Yeah, blue pencils. It is just my new favorite thing. But here I also did a portrait with a green color, and I really like how you can create depth with colored pencils by just adding more pressure when sketching. So it is not only this boring gray with normal pencils that you can get, but also very cool color variations. This portrait, face number 63, my camera died on me while I was sketching, so half of the process got lost. So yeah, here's the outcome, how it looked in the end, and I just redefined the outlines a little bit. Here's another page of 2 portraits that I did with fine liners, because next to the fountain pen I also like to draw with fine liners and sketch with fine liners, because I have so many different fine liners with wider nibs or with very small and tiny nibs that you can cross-hatch very well with. So I wanted to do that in this page, and I really liked how they turned out. I think they really look like the references. And here I decided to go for the old boring normal pencil. But I have to say I like the portraits that I've done here. Here I have messed up the proportions of the eyes, so I had to erase everything and do it again. But I don't know, man, pencils are just not my medium. I guess you can work with them very well because you have also a very wide range of values that you can create with a pencil, but I don't know. For me, it is definitely colored pencil supremacy here. I've seen this reference picture of this woman over Pinterest very often, but I never sketched her, I think. So it's very cool to have her in my sketchbook now. And here I'm back at some more statues, and these are examples for portrait sketches that I did not like in the beginning because the proportions were just very often I was like, damn, I have sketched it with a fine liner now, so I cannot erase it. So the thing that I like sometimes becomes the thing that I don't like with fine liners. But in the end, I really liked the outcome, to be honest. This clown portrait is also a picture that I have not only seen on Pinterest very often, but also on Instagram, and I have seen a lot of people draw this reference so far. And I also have to admit that this is one of my favorites now, also because of the color combination and the line weight that I used. So I'm a little bit proud of myself for this one, and also how I got the expression. Here I'm back again at sketching with ink and pen, an old man with a pipe and a very cool hat. I think in the end he does not really look like the reference. I still like how I did the beard, and I also like the hatching style. Yeah, with ink it is always a different outcome than what you imagined, but this is, as I said, also something that I really like, that you cannot really control what will come out in the end. Also with this guy who I chose to draw because of, the expression, and I think that I caught that very good, at least one thing. The perspective in this portrait is very hard, and I thought that it would be easier for me to draw it because I really like different angles like this one, but I kind of messed it up, to be honest. But that's fine. At least the second portrait on this page is better, in my opinion. I don't really like this page, but in a sketchbook there are a lot of pages that you won't like in the end, I think. This page, on the other hand, is a page that I really like though, because first I did use the colored pencil again, this one a darker tone of blue. And I also think that the way that I shaded the skin looks very good, so this face has a lot of volume to it, so yeah, I really like it. I also like the reference a lot, and also this one, which has again a really like interesting and complicated angle, but I think that I nailed this one more than the one before, and also I like how I did the skin in this one as well, so I really like this page of these two faces. Here's another portrait that I chose because of the hairstyle, and I really enjoyed doing the braids and all these little hair on the forehead. Yeah, but the spikes were also very cool and caught my eye right away. And I decided to do the background inspired by the hairstyle, so there's like a very spiky shape in the background with different orange tones. For this page, I chose to sketch and draw with my pastel pencils, which I don't use very often, but you can smudge them very good, and I tried to do that here. I don't really like this face number 79, but I really love the outcome of the next face, face number 80. Maybe it is because it is again a blue color that I used. I don't know what it is about the blue, I just love blue very much, and it is just a completely different depth that you can create with a cool color in contrast to a warmer color, I think. I tried to create the same like volume look with the skin with a pencil on this page, but I think that yeah, I just cannot really work with pencils as well as I can with other mediums, so yeah, I like this page, but the proportions of the first face are really off, but I really like the second one. Sadly, it is a little bit overexposed, so you cannot really see like the process of shading and smudging with my finger, but I think, as you can see in the outcome, I really focused on the shapes of the head here and build up the details on that. This is just another reference with a very cool hairstyle that I wanted to draw and sketch with my fountain pen, and I really enjoyed doing hair structures with my fountain pen. And here I had to refill the cartridge because it is a refillable cartridge that I prefer over always exchanging and throwing away old cartridges. And this is another page that I really like. I like the expression and I like the line weight, I like the structures of everything, so yeah, I'm happy with it. These following 4 portraits are very quick portraits, as you can see, and I treated the colored pencil more like my fountain pen, so I did not sketch beforehand. I did the faces right away. This is kind of like a one-line thing, and I really like how the proportions turned out. I don't think that anything looks off too much. I think they have a lot of character to them, and I also like the colors. It is again an orange versus a blue tone, and surprise, I like this blue page more than I like the orange page, but this might be also because of this very cool hairstyle this guy on the right has. And we continue with cool hairstyles and unique hairstyles on older people with this page, and yeah, I don't know, I just enjoy unique hairstyles and hairstyles that you would think like everybody would look dumb in, but these people, they rock it. Let's be honest, this grandma looks amazing, and this one as well. I really like the bangs and just the vibe of these people, and I think that I caught the vibe, and I like the colors in the background. Yeah, and at this point at the sketchbook we're at face 90, only 10 faces away from the 100 mark. Yeah, most of the techniques that I've used here just repeat themselves, so I cannot say a lot to the techniques. You have seen them. I think that you can see that I really like using my fountain pen for sketching and ink for sketching. This is also why I used it for 6 portraits portraits straight in a row. I also like to add some color to the portraits, just so it is not black on plain white. So I don't know, I cannot really say anything about the techniques or new things about the techniques, so just enjoy these last heads. And please tell me in the comments if you have a favorite page or if you have a favorite head or anything, which technique you like the most, or if there's a technique that you like most or that you want to try out because you have seen it here. I can just recommend, as I said, sketching with ink. Go and try that and build up your line confidence by using a fountain pen. This is maybe the biggest advice that I can give you in this video. And I hope that you enjoyed it and enjoyed the last few faces. My goal was to fill this sketchbook in a month, so 30 days, but in the end I filled this with over 100 heads in 25 days. It is not the whole sketchbook that I filled, but I think it is enough for now. So if you want to see a sketchbook tour of this sketchbook where you can see all of the faces a little bit more and maybe in more detail, then write that in the comments as well, and I would like to see you in one of my next videos. And as always, I hope that you're fine and stay creative.